Canales of UT Rio Grand Valley, Andy Setzer of Adams State, Paul Maher of New Mexico JC, and Jose Corona of UT Rio Grande Valley. As you can see, the Adams State gentleman out to the front, that's no surprise. One of the strongest D2 programs over the last decade and more. Peyton Brown, who is your current leader, opened the season at Boston with a sub-14 5K a couple weeks back. D2 All-American in 2023 for cross country. There was the sixth-place team as they split a 65 there through 400 meters. My guess is he's doing a little bit of pacing work, judging by glancing at the watch. The other gentleman sliding behind him. Remember, Baraki's kind of the headline of Adams State. He is that NCAA D2 outdoor champion. Evan Provence of Grand Canyon also in there with a snappy speed time of 8:20. Sounds provisional based on the 0 zeros at the end, but there's Baraki looking smooth in that second position. A little bit farther back, that's Juan Rosales sitting in that third position, giving some healthy space to the gentleman up front. SoCal native, spent 2 successful years at the JUCO San Diego Mesa before transferring over to Adams State. Struggled in his first cross-country season, which was always a tough adjustment, especially when you're going up to compete at altitude and train at altitude as well up there, but looking to break out this track season. Bib number 4, that Sherbath of Adams State, ran 2 cross-country races this fall. This is his first foray onto indoor track. Oh, right, that raced the mile at Mount Rainier Open a week back. First foray in the 3K this year, I should say. Yeah, that's Brown continuing to do the pacing up front. Rocky on his heels. See how far Brown takes him. Generally in 3K, you'll probably take him about 1,600 meters, maybe 2K if he's feeling good. Looking to get some early marks, qualify for the D2 Indoor Championships later this winter. 2:44 through 1K, plus or minus a second or two. The rest of the gentlemen coming through at about 2:50, 2:51. Rocky looking pretty smooth in second place there. Yeah, you can see just the class of Baraki as he's starting to just open up a massive gap. Obviously still has his pacer up there. I'd be very surprised if Brown goes the full way. But running some smooth 65, 66s so far. Looking pretty good. Again, that's the rest of the Adams State contingent. That's third and fourth place right there. That's Rosales and Sherbath, joined by the Grand Canyon Athlete Province. Baraki, our current provisional leader, getting paced by his teammate Dayton Brown. Really an outstanding athlete. 2024 Olympic Trials qualifier in the marathon. He won't be racing that, I don't think, as that's in about 2 weeks down in Orlando. He qualified via a very speedy 62:40 in the half. As we stated already, the national champion in the 5,000 meters for Division II, All-American in the 5K, 10K, and indoors in the 3K and 5K. So we gotta start adjusting and calling it short track for World Athletics. I will leave my opinion out of that, but we are now competing in short track rather than indoor. So 200 meters around this Albuquerque Convention Center. And Baraki's looking smooth, tucked in behind his teammate, Dayton Brown. And that is your chase pack. Still holding strong. Rosales, Sherbath, and the sole Grand Canyon athlete in that darker singlet, just off camera there, sneaking in a little bit. That province of Grand Canyon. Dayton Brown, our pacer up front. He's a senior for Adams State. Always good to have that veteran presence setting the tone, keeping things moving. He graduated from Rockford High School in 2018, hometown of Grand Rapids, Michigan. He's doing a great job setting the pace, keeping it super even. Baraki staying right on him. Coming around the bank, we're about to get some lapped athletes. And here we are coming through 2K. As you hear the in stadium announcer. Baraki's starting to look under pressure a little bit. 5:32. So just about even. That was 2:45 for their first K, so that's about 2:47 for K number 2. Back doing a good job of working together here, starting to trade off a little bit. It's been Rosales doing most of the work. Sherbath looks like he's going to help him out. I think Provence is running really smart. You have two guys on the same team in the pack with you. Let them do the work. You sit back, wait till you feel good. No reason to work any harder than you should. Let them pace for you. Why not? Why not? Provence and Rosales actually have a little bit of history racing together. Both raced at the JUCO San Diego Mesa. Provence ran 24:18 in the 8K this cross country season. Nice little PB for him. Run 3:56 in the 1500 and 14:49 in the 5K. As expected, Dayton Brown, the pacer, has stepped off. So there's Baraki holding down the fort, 2,200 meters. Brown did a great job getting him through 2K. Baraki's going to have to do the rest of the work now with 800 meters to go in our opening race here. Dr. MLK Collegiate Invitational at the Albuquerque Convention Center. Chase Pack still holding together pretty strong here. They're about to come through 2,300 meters after this straightaway. Starting to spread out just a little bit. Sherbath putting some pressure on the other gentleman. Rosales has looked in difficulty a couple times, losing a little bit of gap, but he's holding really strong running a real tough race. It's always helpful when you are racing alongside a teammate, someone you've been working out with in practice. You know that anything they can do, you can do as well. Hanging strong. So, of course, we are very, very early in this indoor season. But nonetheless, the top mark in the country for Division 2, 600 meters to go for Baraki coming through there. Or sorry, 200 meters to go for Baraki. The top mark, as I was saying, is 7:54.95. That's altitude adjusted from Tyler Nord of Western Colorado. Ran that at over 7,000 feet of elevation, the Western State Fieldhouse. So listen to this conversion. He ran 8:25, and that converted down to 7:54. So we'll see what Baraki's conversion is here as he comes through the finish line in 8:23.86. I will tell you right now, that's not going to be enough to take the lead from Tyler Nord, but he's going to be well up there. As the rest of his Adams State teammates come through 8:33, 8:34. That's Sherbath and Rosales. And Province should be close behind of Grand Canyon. Well, I must have lost some space there in the last 300 because he was right alongside them with about 400 meters to go. But it looks like Rosales and Sherbath really brought it home there. 8:34. They will all, I believe, be in the top 10 in D2 so far this year. Right now, that takes an 8:12. Remember, all the distance athletes get a pretty nice altitude adjustment due to the altitude here in Albuquerque. Let the results come through as we await our next event.
Attention athletes, if you have equipment or trainers, if you have equipment stored in front of the south concession stand, if you would please move it, we are going to get prepared to open that concession stand. So if you have equipment over that's kind of behind the shotgun rings, please reclaim that stuff and move it. Thank you very much. So in 1 minute, the check-in for the men's and women's 200. Actually, right now, it's just for the men's 200, unseeded, is closed.
Welcome back. We are now preparing for the women's 3,000 meters. Unlike the men, they will race in two separate heats here. About 9 women scheduled to run in heat number 1 and 15 scheduled in heat number 2. Here's your start list for heat 1. Draw your attention to Vienna Lanner of Adams State. She is the fastest seed time. Now, as those experienced with indoor track know, these seed times, a lot of them are provisional. A lot of these women have not raced yet this year, at least not a 3K. So the top 2 times here, both Lanner and Lovato, are provisional, but Lanner's the 9:40 seed time, fastest seed time by 20 seconds. Podiumed 4 times at Kansas Outdoor Champs as a high school student for Spring Hill. Did her season at the Mountaineer Open with a 5:15 mile. And came back and paced the 3K. Now will be running it herself.
Wearing hip one, freshman
A lot of
from
D2 athletes out here today.
Greenville, Kansas, where she is a triple collegiate
The
winner,
top mark
2016 state
in the
meet,
country is
200 meters
actually
of
an Adams
9:40.
State athlete.
Kim
We'll see
Coombs with
plenty
the
of Adams State in the
yellow,
distance events here
running
today.
next best of
That athlete,
10
Ava
flat.
O'Connor,
Hip three is
ran
Samantha Gonzalez.
9:10 about a month and a half
Triple
ago
flag
for
indoor
Adams State
3K last year. Hip
at
four is
the opener.
Emerson Couple of
And we're out pretty
Greenville,
quick
Indiana.
here.
Comes in at
Going to come through about 37 high for that 200.
10:33.65 is Kendall
I do not
Seta
anticipate
of
that pace remaining,
College. 10:35, same for her
but
teammate
we will see. We will
Lily
see.
Center. She
Already
finished
spreading out
6 and 7
pretty
as fastest
generously here. 2
rower.
athletes to the
February from
front.
Colorado College. 8 is
1
Carolina
athlete kind of hanging out in
Moreno.
no man's
Women's
land, but I think she'll
junior
get caught by
varsity
that next group, and we'll have some women to run with.
Brea,
You want to get caught early
Texas.
on. Generally, you want people to run with in the 3K. 9 and 10 here. We got a Breha and Kristen
Yes, ma'am.
Johansson, a
Thank you.
late
Yes,
ad.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So a Breha of North
The
Texas.
10 there, Kate Kisner of College.
Both to the front here. Johansson running unattached. Tiblitz Breha, a distance runner, obviously, for North Texas. Grew up in Grapevine, Texas, where she attended Grapevine High School. Had a solid cross-country season in the fall. Set personal best in the 5K at the Texas A&M Invitational, and a 6K PR of 22:17 at Arturo Barrios. A notoriously quick course, but a fair one. A couple athletes out there racing, very solid. That's why Johansson's name sounded familiar. She is a former Olympic trial qualifier out of Greenwood Village, Colorado. 3K is a little short for her, I would think. She should be feeling pretty good. Raced in the 2020 Olympic trials hosted by the Atlanta Track Club. Personal best of 2:42 in the marathon. It was good enough to qualify her for those trials in 2020. Some success on the track as well, as run 10:37 as she goes to the lead. By far the most experienced athlete on the track against all these collegiate women. So I have no doubt that that lead will continue to open up. Breha letting her go pretty immediately. And we got a nice little pack for our chase pack here of these women. That'll be great for them. Get some women to race against, work together, set some fast early marks here at 5,000 feet of altitude. Johansson, your leader. Again, that marathon best 2:42. She is now, I believe, 37 years old, 36, 37. And showing the collegiates how it is done. With her many years of experience racing on the track and beyond. Running's in her blood. Her parents met at the Boulder 10K in 1982. So I think you would say she was destined to become a distance runner. Boulder race, one of the premier road races in the United States, has been for a very, very long time. Also, she is a volunteer firefighter, certified as a swiftwater and ice water rescue technician. So, gotta have some good strength for that too, I would imagine. And definitely some bravery, which she is demonstrating coming down and racing a bunch of 22, 21-year-olds. As the mean green athlete of North Texas, Breha hangs on in second in your picture right now. Starting to lose a little bit of space to third. Breha went out pretty quick, but this altitude is challenging, especially if you haven't run in it much before. There's Johansson, your leader. You can see the gap back to Breha in second. Now falling back into third as another athlete takes in second. That's Gretchen Kuffel of Grand Canyon. Transferred from D2 school Fort Hays State to Grand Canyon after her sophomore year.
3K.
Change of scenery seems to be working for her pretty well, as she is now firmly in second place in this race. Breha is starting to feel the effects of altitude. If you've never run at altitude, I know we talk about it all the time. You've probably heard of this phrase, right? But if you're a distance runner watching this from sea level, just feels like a tightness in the lungs. You just don't have quite as much oxygen. The legs feel just as fine as normal, at least early on in the race, but you just get that tied up, that out of breath feeling so quickly. It's really difficult to pace yourself at altitude if you don't train at altitude. As Christian Johansson remains in the lead. Really opening it up here. You can see that gap back to second. Ran a 10K this year down at the Peachtree Road race in Atlanta. 37:51 was her time there. Really no other marks on her World Athletics page. Maybe she snuck in a couple smaller low-key races here and there across 2023. But first race of 2024, I would imagine here. There's your eyes on Gretchen Kuffel of Grand Canyon. 28th at the WAC Conference Championships last year. Course was measured a little long, so that 22:14 for her looks even better on the longer cross-country course there at conference. A little bit longer than a 6K there for her. Also ran a PB of 5:22 at the Friday Night Axum Open. That was last week, January 12th. A pretty good start to her indoor season, and she's looking like her training has gone well over the holidays. Back to Johansson, our leader. So current situation on the track is Johansson in first, Kuffel in second, and here is our battle for third. We got two Colorado College athletes working together. That's Kendall Aceta and Elliot Singer. Love being able to race with your teammates, just pulls you along. Anything they can do, you know you can do. You've worked with them in practice. My apologies, that's not Singer, that's Mueller Hickler. I had the wrong bib number there. Number 7, that's Mueller Hickler of Colorado College, racing alongside her teammate, Kendall Aceta. And there is your leader, Johansson. Starting to struggle a little bit as her pace slows down. That's Camayo of New Mexico Junior College, putting in the work up here at altitude. Johansson goes around her. We'll have to keep track of the lapped runners here to know what place is who. Johansson remaining in the lead. Johansson was smart early, let Breha get spicy for the first 200 meters, just kind of kept an eye on her. Around 600 meters, Johansson started closing that gap. And once she took over, she never looked back and looked at that gap back to second, almost a full 100 meters between Johansson and our second athlete, Gretchen Kuffel. The Kuffel's still running pretty well herself. I would expect a PR out of her, especially with this altitude adjustment. Kuffel's run 10:23 in the 3K. Really had a difficult cross-country season, but is a pretty strong track runner. Has had some success there in the past. Ran the steeple at the MIAA Championships back in 2022. Mostly West Coast races for her. Her 1,500-meter PB is from Brian Clay. That's a 4:34. That's a couple on your screen right
And
there.
here comes our leader this morning,
Formerly
Alana.
for Fort Hays State. Now making the trip over to Grand Canyon. Number 522 in the mile a week ago at the Friday night Axum Open. Really good start to her indoor season. She will also go around Camayo, the New Mexico Junior College athlete.
And here is our
There's the bell
leader,
for Johansson. 200 meters left. 9:41 with 200 meters to go. I remember every single time here gets that altitude adjustment. A little over 10 seconds. It's not quite a flat number, depends on the time, so excuse me for not doing the math. We'll be here all day. We will be here all day, but I'd much rather be talking about track and field than doing math. Johansson coming around the final curve. She's run such a smart race. Really intelligent over the first 600 meters, biding her time, taking the lead in the middle of the race. Keeping it going and then closing it down here with a 10:19.49 for Johansson. A lap runner coming through there. And there is Kuffel, our top collegiate athlete. We'll get those results up on the screen there for you. Still a couple lap runners with some work to do. We will keep that camera on the finish line as folks finish and get their final times.
Kristen Johansson, a former Buffalo runner at the University of Colorado, likes marathons. She dropped her PR right there by about 30 seconds in this one race. Couple of Grand Canyon at 10:24.9.
And we are going to step away for just a moment before we get ready for heat number 2 of the women's 3K.
Weight throwers, your break is open. Women's weight at 9:15. That's in 30 minutes. So ladies, you can start your warm-ups at the weight break. Women 10:24.9 for couple.
Welcome back to Albuquerque. It is the Dr. Martin Luther King Collegiate Invitational. We are still getting the track warmed up here with some more distance races. Remember, the sprint events this afternoon are going to be world-class, and I do not exaggerate, world-class. With the likes of Rashida Adeleke, Julian Alfred, and Dina Asher-Smith, all present at the World Championships in Budapest this summer. They will be gracing us with their presence later this afternoon. But first, we will have this second heat of the women's 3K.
Now the second section of the women's 3K.
And of course, your starters on the right-hand side. 15 women in this heat.
On your marks.
And here we go. 10:19 is the time to beat from Kristen Johansson. Marathon woman stepping onto the track for the 3K in that last heat. Collegiate best time of the day, Gretchen couples 10:24. And in that break, you got a peek of the field events. We will apologize in advance for not quite having the resources today to cover the field. We have a skeleton crew here, as you can tell by just me doing the announcing. We will only be covering the track events, but we acknowledge that there will be some great field battles today. So get your butt over to the Albuquerque Convention Center if you can. If not, the live results are on rt.trackscoreboard.com. You can track the marks. We apologize to all our field fans out there for not getting to the field events today. We will all eyes on the track. And to the lead there, that's Camille Jackson, representing the hometown host of New Mexico. If you're following along throughout the day, there's an athlete that you want to shout out, some piece of information of highlighted on the air, feel free to shoot me an Instagram DM at underscore Cox Hayden, CoxHayden. Would love to hear from you. You guys know more about track than I do, so would love to get that inside scoop as we watch Camille Jackson of the Lobos in the lead. Love seeing the host out in front. She's a native of Ames, Iowa. Has been competing as a Lobo since her cross-country season of 2022. A solid indoor season as a sophomore, ran 5:57. Went on to outdoors to set a 1500 PB. A lot of home meets for her. That 5:57 was from Don Kirby last year. So she is no stranger to the thin air up here in Albuquerque. A native of Ames, Iowa. Not an easy place to run there either. It is at sea level, so. Jackson sensed her on her heels, put together a little bit of a surge there. That's the K in 3:33. This is Goldie's first indoor race as a Lobo. A solid cross-country season. Ran 22:43 at the Mountain West Cross Country Championship, so made their varsity team there. New Mexico historically a very, very strong women's program, especially in distance. And there's Jackson and Goldie working together up front in this heat number 2. As you see, third and fourth a little bit farther back. There we go. That's Charlie Flint of Colorado College working with Vanessa Gallegos of New Mexico Junior College. Gallegos looking like she wants to get around Miss Flint. Two of them working pretty well together about the halfway point of this race. There she goes, making the move on the straightaway. Flint still doing a decent job of holding her off there. Flint can really make it much more challenging. These outside turns on this bank track, really a challenge to get around. If you can hold that inside lane and push somebody to the outside, it make a big difference in how much energy they are spending to stay with you. So Gallegos definitely working a little bit harder than Flint on the outside. Flint running very smart, but Gallegos comes and makes another move on the straightaway. Flint really doing a great job of holding her off. It's really smart running by Flint, trying to hold that inside, keep Gallegos to the outside as much as possible, and then also using Gallegos as an inspiration to pick up her pace a little bit. Love the way that racing can bring out the best in you, and Gallegos keeps trying to set that little bit of a surge. She needs to just slam on the gas there just for a second to get that inside, and it looks like she's doing it right here in the straightaway. Flint did a great job of holding her off there for about 2 or 3 turns. Still doing it, wow. Gallegos not quite able to close the door on Flint. Flint still keeping it up. Now remember, this is third and fourth on the track right now. Gallegos in third, Flint of Colorado College in fourth. Gallegos in that white top, Flint in the black. There are our two leaders passing the lap runners, a lapped runner. So it's the two women in red who are going 1 and 2. That's Malia Goldie and her teammate Camille Jackson. Jackson, the early leader for about 1,500 meters. Goldie eventually closing that gap, getting back up to her. Goldie and Jackson. Goldie in 1, Jackson in 2. That is a lapped runner just behind them. And a little bit farther back in white and black, that is our battle for a third. Looks like Gallegos has managed to get around Flint. So that's 1,200 meters to go for all these women. I don't think the time of the day will be under threat. Remember, it was Christian Johansson, the unattached marathoner, in heat number 1, coming down to the track, setting a personal best in the 3K of 10:19, followed by Gretchen Kuffel of Grand Canyon with that 10:24. I don't think those times will be under threat here. If you are just joining us, remember this afternoon is going to be jam-packed with excellent action. The men's mile at 12:35 starts off the finals. And then we will have some great races later this afternoon. The women's 60-meter final will be a highlight, as well as the women's 200. We'll have athletes like Rashida Adeleke, the Irish national record holder, Julian Alfred, 5-time NCAA champ, top 8 at Worlds twice, prepping for the Millrose Games. Yusuf Bizamana will be holding down the men. He was the NCAA record holder in the 1K until last night, so he'll be looking for some revenge. And then Dina Asher-Smith will be in the 300 today. That will be super fun to watch. The fastest British sprinter of all time, 2 Olympic medals. That women's 300 will be at 2:40 local time. So we'll have some prelims for you coming up in a couple hours here. Men's mile starting off the finals at 12:35 local time. Remember, everything is mountain time, so adjust accordingly depending on where you're watching from. Now, women's 60-meter final also going to be a marquee event. That's at 2:15, and then you will not want to miss Dina Asher-Smith at 2:40. Now, women's 200 is also going to be pretty dang good at 3:05. You get to see Alfred and Adeleke race each other. The Texas teammates now running professionally for their respective countries en route to the Olympic Games this summer. Situation on the track right now is still 2 New Mexico women doing the leading. It's Malia Goldie and Camille Jackson. Jackson was your leader for about the first 1,500 meters. Goldie started a little bit more comfortably, closed the gap, went around Jackson at around 1,500 meters, and has been doing the work ever since. Jackson really not giving her a lot of gap, though. I say that right as Goldie makes a move, opens up a little bit of space there. 400 meters to go for Goldie. Jackson right behind her. Battle for third has slipped a little bit, as it was Flint and Gallegos last time we checked. Flint racing for Colorado College, Gallegos racing for New Mexico JC. But it looks like Goldie, there's Flint on your screen. Now being joined by, I believe that's Brooksy Frog of Colorado College, her teammate. That's the bell for Goldie. Been our leader since 1,500 meters. Looks like she's put Jackson in the rear view a little bit. Goldie surging down the track. 150 meters to go for her. Really well-run race, started very smart. Let Jackson do some of the early leading, drafted off her for just a little bit. And is now bringing it home into the final straightaway. Our first victory for the home team of New Mexico. Thank you to all the New Mexico coaching staff and support team for hosting this meet today. 10:56 will be our winning time for Goldie as she takes a well-deserved rest there on the inside. Jackson comes through in second. There is our third athlete through. I think that is Stanel of Colorado College, according to the results here. And that's actually incorrect. The timer there will get a adjustment there. I think that was Brooks Frog of Colorado College who finished second. So if you're looking at those results, note it was Frog. Yeah. Note those results are going to need to get a little bit adjusted, but the top two are correct. It was Goldie, our leader for New Mexico, and Jackson in second, and a host of Colorado College athletes. I can understand why that might have gotten mixed up in the timers. A lot of Colorado College athletes in this race, setting some early marks, making the trip down to Albuquerque. As we have our last few women coming through the line. So we will throw it to break here right after our last few women finish. And we will be back in a moment with the men's unseeded 200, followed by some women's unseeded 200s. But make sure you stay tuned, especially later this afternoon. We'll have some great events with Alfred Adeleke, Bizamana, and Tina Asher-Smith. But first, a quick break, and we'll bring it back for the 200. See you soon.
Let's correct the lane assignments here for this men's 200. Elijah Jefferson to report to the starting line, please. I misannounce the participants here. We've got lane 3, Josiah Adams of Grand Canyon. Lane 4, Elijah Jefferson of New Mexico. 5 is Desmond Frazier of West Texas. And 6 is Jamari Hartz of UT Rio Grande Valley.
Welcome back to Albuquerque. We have already gotten the day started with some 3K action. Now we're going to bring it down to the sprints for the men's unseeded 200 meters. You're looking for the seeded action. That will be later this afternoon. The men at 2:55, the women at 3:05. That women's race especially will be pretty spectacular. We will keep our eye here on the start line. So we get ready for these men's 200s.
Test.
Always takes a little longer to set the blocks than we anticipate, but glad we could bring you back early and not miss it. Here are your athletes scheduled for heat number 1. Again, I am Hayden Cox. I will be bringing you all the action here today at the Martin Luther King Collegiate Invitational. If you got an athlete you'd like to shout out or a fun fact about anybody competing today,
members, we need
feel free to
sections
shoot me a
2
message
and
on
3 in
Instagram
field, please.
at _Cox
Thank
Hayden.
you.
Would love that insider information on the
Wonderful.
athletes competing today. So here we get ready for heat number 1. Josiah Adams in 3 of Grand Canyon, Elijah Jefferson of New Mexico in 4, Western Texas athlete Desmond Frazier in 5, Jamari Hartz of UT Rio Grande Valley in 6.
Set.
Adams, Jefferson,
Let's
Frazier,
start from Hartz on the
and
outside. Let's start from Jefferson of New Mexico as well. Really good movement by Jefferson there on that turn. He's starting to get challenged on the inside a little bit by Adams. Can Jefferson hold him off? It's Adams on the inside, Jefferson in the middle. It's going to be Jefferson and a great outside move by Hartz. Really tight 200 there. Jefferson's going to take the win for New Mexico. That is our second. Let's keep track of them. Second New Mexico win of the day. Always supporting the hometown team. Love to see some red up front here. 21.99 for Elijah Jefferson will be the mark of the day.
Lane 6, Jalen Washington, North Texas.
So we will have 5 heats of this men's 200. $21.99 by Jefferson. Decent start to his indoor season. As the gentlemen in heat number 2 will set their blocks. Actually, we have now added a 6th heat, the men's unseeded 200. That's the beauty of the unseeded 200. You can add some athletes late, really just to get some of these athletes a mark to race later in this indoor season. Keep saying later, it feels early in the indoor season, but really we've been going since December. It always feels a little odd with that long break for the holidays, broken indoor season. But still pretty early for the collegiate men and women. They'll both be competing at the same national championships. But here's our heat number 2, gentlemen. See if we can get another New Mexico winner here. Obviously rooting for all these athletes to have a great day, but especially thank you to New Mexico for hosting in this facility. They really do have a great facility here at the Albuquerque Convention Center. Putting up that temporary indoor track over the winter time. You would not know it's temporary if you've run on it. Really nice track. Pan to some of these field actions in the middle. Apologies again to our field fans. We know we have some great battles, especially in the women's long jump today. Got Leo the German in the pole vault as well, one of the top NCAA decathletes last year, NCAA champion. But due to our skeleton crew here, we will be just focused on the track. This race will feature Winslow Trollinger running unattached in 3, Cara of New Mexico in 4, Poteet of Grand Canyon in 5, and Washington of North Texas in 6. Really good start from Washington of North Texas on the outside. We see the Grand Canyon starting to reel them in just a little bit, but not quite yet. There's the battle. Washington on the outside, Poteet on his inside. It's going to be Washington. Really great start. Shows the value of a strong start in the 200 as he goes wire to wire there with a 21.63. That's our fastest mark of the day. Jalen Washington with that 21.63. I believe that's his first race for the Mean Green of North Texas. So by nature, that will be a collegiate personal best. Always count. Always count a personal best if it's your first race doing something, even if it's just your first collegiate race, count it as a personal best. Why not? As we get ready for heat number 3, these gentlemen set their blocks. If you are new to track or just a distance runner who doesn't know much about sprints, you may be wondering why we are leaving lanes 1 and 2 open here on this indoor banked 200-meter track. Well, those tight turns really disadvantage athletes in lanes 1 and 2, so it is the custom to leave those open so that we can get some faster times on the outside lanes. A little bit more of a bank, a little bit of a wider turn leads to quicker times on those outside lanes. So helping the gentleman out by leaving 1 and 2 open. This race will feature 4 more athletes. We've got Fullerin of Lubbock Christian in 3, Walden of North Texas in 4, Bowie running unattached in 5, and Cornelius in 6. Pretty even start. Good move by Walden of North Texas. Seems to be your early leader in lane 4. Definitely overtaking the stagger there on the curve. Walden of Texas running well. Cornelius trying to hang on there on the outside. Can he bring it back? No, I don't think so. That was Justin Walden of North Texas.
21.85, just
As
under
we
as
await the
fast
mark.
for Walden.
There we go, 21.85.
Section 4 of the men's 200,
Justin
leading the
Walden,
lead is Jalen Nero of UT Rio Grande.
formerly competed for
21.96
Indian
and
Hills, I
84
believe,
Shalani Reed out of New
junior
Mexico
college for
Junior
North
College.
Texas.
He
That's
comes in
his
at
first
22.5.
200 in a UNT
25
uniform.
Shamari Robertson from
Last
the
week
junior
ran a
college in
6.86
21.7.
in the 60
In lane 6,
before helping his
Chloe
team out in
Moore
the
of Grand
4x4.
Canyon, 21.86. Women's weight throw shown here is getting underway. Leads work up
As
heated
he
as
wobbles
number 9.
off the track. Amazing how quick they can run for 200 meters and
Has a best
hurts
time of
so much
6:47
afterwards.
3/4. 18 meters 79 at the finish for
And we will
UT
get
Rio Grande.
reset for heat number 4.
Udinafon Sam out of Nigeria, Texas State was third in the
Jalen
500
Washington of North
meters.
Texas still has the time to beat, 21.63.
Here at the MLK
He was the
National
winner of Heat 2, followed by Dylan Poteet in
Sam has got the
21.67, which is
meters,
the second
76
best
feet in the
mark
fourth quarter.
of the day.
All
Walden's mark
Canadians
right there in
taking
Heat
it back
3
off
was
the
good for
throw for
third,
122 again. New Mexico has
21.85.
a 60 feet.
Obviously, that's still provisional, still a couple of heats left to run. We'll let these gentlemen set their blocks.
Ninth in the big 12 weight throw for Texas. She comes into the best of 18.94.62 quarters. Women's weight throw underway.
Women's first 3 sections, please start heading to the track for the women's 200. Women's 200, first 3 sections.
There's the whistle calling the gentleman back to the start line, getting ready for this fourth heat of the men's unseeded 200. 6 total heats. We'll have Jalen Nero of UT Rio Grande Valley in 3, Roberts of New Mexico Junior College in 5, and Brewer of Grand Canyon in 6. Another pretty even start. A little bit of advantage to Roberts of lane 5. Starting to get a move on the inside by Nero of UT Grand Valley. He's definitely got the speed in the last one here. Nero versus Roberts. Nero on the inside. Roberts taking another surge on the outside. I think that was going to be Roberts. Nero Roberts of New Mexico Junior College. Yes, he does take the win in 21-8-4. That'll be his first mark on the books for New Mexico JC. Taking a little heat win as well.
Lane 6, Western Texas. In the men's high jump,
these are the gentlemen of heat number 5, our penultimate heat. Time to beat is still Jalen Washington's 21-6-3. Remember, we will have some world-class events later this afternoon. If you're tuning in now, make sure to be back this afternoon. Men's miles starting at 12:35. We'll have a couple of Puma Elite athletes en route to the Olympic trials this summer, racing at 12:35. At least on the calendar I've got. And then we will have the women's 60-meter final at 2:15. That's going to be a great one with Julian Alfred, a finalist at the World Championships last summer. Women's 200 will be excellent at 3:05. That's going to see a battle between Alfred and Adeleke, former Texas teammates, both World Championship finalists now competing professionally. And then at 2:40, you'll want to watch for Dina Asher-Smith, a legend of our sport, changing it up in distance a little bit. Usually a 100, 200-meter runner, now racing the 300 indoors, so that'll be fun at 2:40. A lot of great action, all on FloTrack later this afternoon. I'm Hayden Cox. I will be bringing you all of it, along with our camera crew here, production crew, getting it done. As we get ready for heat number 5.
We'd like to remind all runners you do need to check in at the clerk's table before you come onto the track. Check with the clerk. On your marks.
Guzman of Adams State in 3, Abston of Grand Canyon 4, Conejo of New Mexico in 5, and Campbell of Western Texas in 6. Pretty good start on the outside by Campbell of Western Texas. Juco. Also a decent start from Abston of Grand Canyon, who's moving pretty well as they hit the turn here. Abston has made up the stagger on Cornejo. Abston of Grand Canyon trying to challenge Campbell on the outside. Campbell still has the lead. Abston comes off the turn. Can Campbell hold him off? Late charge by the New Mexico athlete. Man, that was tight. I think it was Campbell. see if I'm right here on the results, but definitely neck and neck between Campbell Abston and Cornejo. Cornejo who gets the nod. Campbell third. Wow. My eye did not do well there. Give me some credit for it being 200ths of a second off. But Cornejo with the lead, 21.78, Abston 21.79, and Campbell 21.80. Campbell did let up a little bit at the line, so maybe that's what it was for the Western Texas athlete. Got to run through the
Women's
lines, gentlemen.
200, first 5
You learned that in
sections,
high school.
sections 1 through 5. Please report to the track. Make sure you have your
So that
name
was heat number
number.
5.
Women's
We will have
200,
one more
sections
heat
1
of
through
the
5.
men's unseeded
In that
200.
first section, the women will be racing Lori Good. And in section 2, Hawaii, Shaw Huckabee, Crawford, and Knight.
On your marks.
Last heat is going to feature Aaron Johnson of Grand Canyon. He'll be in 4. Monty Masco-Beckles of Western Texas is going to be in 5. Gail Romo of UT Rio Grande Valley in 6. Good start on the outside by Romo. The big lead there going into the turn. Starting to move on the inside. That's Johnson of Grand Canyon making up the stagger on Beckles. Romo is still your leader on the outside. He's going to come around the turn in the lead. And Johnson challenged? I don't think so. It is Romo who goes wire to wire there with a good start. 21.85 for him. Jalen Washington will remain the top time in the unseeded men's 200-meter dash at 21.63. And we will take a little break here. After the men's 200 dash, we'll be back in a moment with the women's unseeded 200-meter dash, currently scheduled to have 14 heats of that. So we will be back here in a minute on FloTrack.
Sections 1 through 6 of the